Whoa! This is NTV, and you've just tuned in to the ENDstream, where we independently cover global issues, geopolitics, current events, culture, and social dynamics, raw, rational, true, and providing a humanistic analysis of this crazy world we're living in. We're simultaneously streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and on Kick. Let me just give you a preview of these channels. So this is our YouTube channel where we have all our past live streams. We have videos covering different topics, different geopolitics, about, it's about what's going on with different countries in the world. It's about economy. We talk about tech, AI. We talk about scandals. We talk about good things as well. It's not all doom and gloom. And here is our Rumble channel, the Kick channel, where we have all our live streams. And we're also on social media, on Instagram, on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're on TikTok.
Excuse me, sir.
Hang on, that's a different video. We're on TikTok, and we have a Discord channel, and all the links are in the description of our YouTube channel. So today we have a lot to cover. And before I start, I want to say I usually stream on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. CET, Central European time. So it's 5 p.m. France, French time, Italian time, German time. And my co-host, Bird, he streams on Tuesdays. So I stream on Thursdays, he streams on Tuesdays, usually 5 p.m. CET. So keep an eye on our channel. And we also release shorts of all these live streams. So it's like the best of clips throughout. And we have a lot to cover today. And I'm just going to go through it because it's going to last about 1 or 2 hours, maybe 1.5 hours. And we have a lot of things to talk about. So in today's ENDstream, we break down the growing pressure point shaping Europe and the wider world in 2026. Today's topics include Europe's accelerating militarization and the expansion of EU air defense around Ukraine. I'm also going to be talking about Germany's and Europe's knife violence debate and rising tensions surrounding migration, crime, public safety. I'll also be discussing Cuba's collapse, like what's going on with energy over there. What's America doing? What's the US doing to Cuba at the moment? There's a lot of geopolitical instability in the region. I'll also be talking about the usual exploding cost of living. Everybody and their grandma knows about the Strait of Hormuz. Everybody is so sick and tired of everything being so expensive all around the world. It's not just a European issue. It's an American issue. It's an Asian issue. Like wherever you're from in the world, they're basically rinsing us out of the few money we have left. I'll also be talking about, what I mentioned, food inflation and the long-term economic pressure on ordinary people like you and me. I'm not talking about rich elite or anything. I'm talking about most people in the world. I'll also be talking about culture. It's just not just about politicians. I don't want to just talk about, countries and politicians. Like, what is going on? I want to talk about culture. So there are many events going on around the world, especially now that we're getting into summertime. And one of them takes place in Venice, and it's called the Venice Biennale. And there's been a controversy lately, and there's been a political battle over culture, censorship, and sovereignty. There's also record low fertility rates across Europe, and what the demographic decline could mean for the future. Like what is going on in Europe and how, and that is linked to the economic and pressure that we're all facing. I'll also be talking about AI-generated media, YouTube's new AI labeling systems, and the transformation of digital culture. I'll also be talking about the changing economics of music, entertainment, live events, and modern consumer life. And this stream explores the deeper question behind all of these stories. Are we watching temporary instability, or the beginning of a larger global fracture? A lot of these wars, like Hormuz and what's going on, like with Iran and the US, they basically told us at the beginning that it would be resolved immediately. That is very far from the truth. All right, without further ado, let me open some tabs, some links to just get right into this. Over here is an article from CNBC. This is from today, and it's titled European Defense Stocks Rally After Ukraine Ratifies 105 billion EU Loan Deal. Regional indices fall. So over here it says European bourses follow their counterparts in Asia Pacific lower as investors weigh up mixed signals from US-Iranian negotiations to the end of the war in the Middle East. So what I want to say is that there have the EU has loaned Ukraine all this money. I think initially it was 90 billion, now it's 105 billion. And at the end of the day, we're feeling the economic pressure, as if things weren't bad enough with energy and the expenses of our daily lives. I'll get into the cost of food later on. But the EU is sending loads of money to defense. And the people making money off this are the defense contractors. It's the politicians making these under-the-table deals. So we probably get EU people making deals with like massive companies like Lockheed or what is it, Raytheon, or even BlackRock in some like finance, because these organizations aren't just military, they're also financial. And it's just unbelievable how detached politicians and everyone in control is. I mean, nobody, like the normal population, most people have no say in these deals. However, we're feeling it. We're feeling it in how much everything costs, how dire the situation is. There's also an article by Kiev Post, and this is from today as well. Ukraine to be fully integrated into EU air defense, drone priorities, von der Leyen says. Okay, here we are, Queen Ursula, as my co-host Bird says, like from The Little Mermaid. Now, seriously, the Ukraine is not in the EU. Okay. Over here it says European Commission, President Ursula von der Leyen said Ukraine will be included in Europe's urgent defense efforts, backed by a $28.3 billion or $32.9 billion loan for Kyiv's military needs. Now, I have a question. I have a very serious question. This is a loan, right? A loan that the EU will never see back, or will put Ukraine into financial debt for God knows how many more years. And a lot of countries, like we've previously mentioned, especially the pigs countries in Europe, pigs being Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain, who were once deemed to be the laziest of all of Europe. But as I mentioned in my previous live stream, we're getting, for example, Merz, the chancellor in Germany, who's very unpopular now, is telling the German population, be more like Greece. Now, Greece, we all know, had financial troubles in 2007, 2008. But the thing is that they took out loans, they took out bailouts, they took out And these were from German and French banks, not the population. What is going on? Like, what is going on? It's just disgusting how expensive everything is. And we're spending all this money into things that, we will never get back or see or anything like this. And military companies are just making bank. They are making loads of money. All right. I think I'm done there. I think I'm sick with this. All right, let's move on. What's going on in Europe? Because there's always something going on in Europe. So, Mortal Kombat. Okay, so this is an article from Reuters, but it's from last year though. And it says 1 killed, 2 hurt in stabbing attacked at company in southern Germany. Now, the reason I bring this up is that there have been countless articles throughout the years. Like this one is from last year. Germany tries Syrian man over deadly stabbing that stoked migration debate. Okay. There's another article over here. Again, Germany's likely next chancellor demands migration crackdown after knife attack. This was before Merz was sworn in. Another one. Germany tightens security asylum policies after deadly festival stabbing. That was the year before.
A manhunt is underway in Western Germany after a man wielding a knife killed at least 3 people in the city of Solingen.
I mean, that was last year. That was last year.
A vigil has been held in the German town of Aschaffenburg for the victims of a stabbing attack that has sparked renewed concern about immigration controls. Local people laid flowers at the scene of...
All right, so it's an ongoing issue. And over here I'm seeing, this was actually from yesterday. This is from Yahoo News, but it's in the UK, it's not in Germany. And it says 10 people arrested in knife crime crackdown across Norfolk. And here is a Reddit post by somebody. I had to show my ID to buy scissors. I'm 31. I mean, this is probably in the UK. And they sell knives and scissors in these plastic packaging, which you can't open. And chances are, if you buy scissors, you already don't have scissors. So you're going to open these plastic containers with a knife, and you'll most likely cut yourself. But let's see if there are any... Let's see on X, actually. Let's see. Okay, so let's put knife crime. Knife crime. Let's see what's going on and where. Okay, there's a situation in UK. And here you get London Mayor Sadiq Khan saying London is the safest city in the world, with a knife crime reported every 6 minutes, apparently. And some people think it's a migration issue, a culture issue. One thing for sure is it's a psychological issue. This is in Birmingham, more knife crime. Let's have a look. Germany knife crime. Let's see what's going on. Wow, there's even a Wikipedia page just for this. So, okay, it goes way back. I mean, 2020s, and these are recorded. They're not all of them, obviously. There are big issues with all of this, and there are different statistics. And one thing is why is this happening? Why isn't it being addressed? Why is there loads of knife crime everywhere? I mean, knife violence remains a major topic in German political and media discourse following multiple high-profile attacks over the past year. Critics argue Germany's migration, like I mentioned, policy and mental health systems are struggling to cope with rising violent incidents, while others warn the issue is increasingly politicized ahead of elections. I mean, how is that possible? The debate has become closely tied to broader concerns surrounding public safety, immigration policy, like I mentioned, and social fragmentation inside Germany. Well, the immigration thing, I kind of understand. Like when you have people of different countries, different cultures, they clash. They clash. And one of the main factors could also be the economy. Like if you're getting people suffering or if there's unemployment, there are differences within the country, and people have bills to pay, and everybody's getting frustrated. Everybody is so frustrated with their daily lives. I mean, you can see road rage like in Europe all over the place. Like there's people tailgating. I mean, if you're a driver in Europe, I just want to say, just be careful. Like don't press your okay, we have a comment. The knives are not the problem. People handling them are. That's a very good point, because we're getting all these institutions and governments and things trying to police like knives and scissors and everything. But the issue is that it's not the tool itself that's the problem. I mean, what about other countries out of Europe? I'm sure knife crime is a lot lower. I mean, a lot has come from homes, from education, from parenting. Like, what is going on? But surely it has to do with the economy. And over here it says, policing and mental health systems are struggling to cope with rising violent incidents, while others warn the issue is increasingly politicized ahead of elections, like I mentioned. And yeah, everybody is very concerned about public safety. And I would too. I mean, we keep talking about, these shootings in the States, like in high schools and everything. But what about Europe? What is going on? What is going on? Let me just show another article I just found. This is from, I just randomly found this. Germany arrests Syrian in Berlin stabbing case. Okay. But is it a coincidence that a lot of these people have Middle Eastern names? I mean, this is a Syrian refugee. He comes from a war-torn country. And it was to a Spanish tourist as well, at a Holocaust memorial of all places in Berlin. Like, what is going on? And it was to a Spanish person. So I can only guess that there was a clash of culture over here. And over here it says, details of the crime. The perpetrator traveled from Leipzig to Berlin to carry out the attack in the name of the Islamic State organization. For goodness sake, for goodness sake. So it's like ISIS or IS, whatever you call it. He stabbed a 31-year-old Spanish tourist in the neck with a knife on the evening of the crime at the what is going on? I mean, maybe this Syrian. Okay, this is actually old news. This is from 2023, but it's a reoccurring event. So we're getting that guy who was a Syrian refugee, okay? And this was at a Holocaust memorial. So maybe he thought that person was Jewish. I mean, even though they're from Spain, who knows what their religion is? And there are so many conflicts within the Middle East that it's spreading to Europe. And we all remember when hang on a sec, let me just look something up. So yeah, the previous chancellor in Germany, Angela Merkel, like she was very popular in Germany. I think she had 4 terms, which is 16 years. That's a long time to be a leader of a country. And if I remember correctly, she let in like 1 million refugees into Europe which spread from Turkey, Greece, all the way up north. And as soon as they got the amount of refugees they needed for factories or different things, they closed the borders. And all these refugees spilled out onto neighboring countries in Europe. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my co-host Bird, who's in the comments. We're looking forward to your live stream on Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. If you have anything to say, just feel free to add it. So yeah, it's just insanity. It's insanity. Like if you bring in refugees, make sure you bring in the right things to help out people. Make sure you have jobs, well, first and foremost for your own people. But then if you let in migrants in, make sure you have jobs, make sure you have the right hospitals that they might need. I mean, they need psychologists, okay? They need people to help them out. They need people to help them out with their psychology. I mean, something might trigger them. Have you ever seen Rambo, like when he had PTSD? Like that shower scene was reminding him of like torture in Vietnam. I mean, who knows what is going on in these people's heads? They also have like a different culture than us. So, for example, in countries, we have people who, where women are mostly covered up. So they cover up their hair with a hijab or something like that. And that's fine. But when these people are brought into our countries and they see a woman with hair, they're like, whoa, woman is showing more than she should. Or they might feel good about it, or they might feel bad about it. But something needs to be done. These things need to be addressed. And not addressing these things makes things, creates these problems and lets these problems happen. I mean, all these politicians, it's okay to take everybody's money that could go on healthcare, that could go on welfare state, but no, we're spending it all onto the military industrial complex. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. We're getting people dying because they can't afford food, they can't afford energy. I mean, I sound like a broken record at this point. If anybody's tuned into our previous live streams, it's just on and on and on. So let's see what's going on with the US foreign policy, and our good old friend, Donald J. Trump. So this is an article from Al Jazeera, and this is from today, 28th of May. Iran and US trade attacks after Trump rejects report of Hormuz agreement. So this story is never ending. This is never ending. Like the cost of living is all down to this Hormuz agreement. Some part of me is thinking, all right, these oil companies are making loads of money. The cost of unleaded fuel in Europe, at least where I am, is €2.20 at the moment per liter. €2.20. But look in the Middle East, and fuel costs 0.30 cents or something like that. I don't know if it's dollars or euro, but it's low. Like they almost have it for free. But we always blame the oil companies, right? Oil companies, because if they restrict the supply in the Gulf of Hormuz, then the price goes up. This is what economics say. Restrict the supply, price goes up. Fine. But what about the 80% or whatever that is tax on fuel? 80% is tax going straight to our government's pockets. It's not going to our pockets. 80% tax. And this applies to most European countries. Like, what is going on? And sure, these Middle Eastern countries like Kuwait, they have like almost no tax, or they only tax foreign businesses over there. I think that also applies to Dubai. We have a comment. Oh, Orange Man hits again. And that reminds me of the meme. Have you seen the meme with the orange meme with a weird face? This one. Okay. I did a voice for that. So yeah, they're restricting the supply. They're taxing the hell out of us. They're taking their sweet-ass time with a deal. In Poland, fuel is around 150 to 2. That's acceptable. That's a comment from somebody. Well, that's a lot better than it is in other countries. So in Europe, just to be clear, countries have different pricing. And I don't know who sets the prices. Maybe it's the oil companies. Maybe it's the individual shops. But yeah, that's better than I have it. That's for sure. And we're going to get into Cuba as well, because they're out of oil through distribution, like no distribution over there. Let's see what else is going on. Politico says Pentagon puts building blocks in place for Cuba invasion. Like, what? Oh, actually, let me rewind a bit. So this one over here with the US and Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, there are always rumors that they're going to find a deal, that they've reached approval, but this one here says it just needs Trump's final approval. He just needs to say yes. But who's behind Trump? Who's behind Trump? Is it the oil companies like Chevron? Is it some conspiracy theorists might say Israel, which makes no sense. I mean, Netanyahu, has some influence in regards to defense, but not oil. Or does he? I don't know. These people are so greedy to the point that they've completely lost touch with reality. Okay, so back to Cuba. Pentagon puts building blocks in place for Cuba invasion. Like what? Like, I didn't say this, okay? This is Politico. And this is from yesterday, 27th of May, 26. And here it says, the Pentagon has spent months positioning the troops and weapons needed for the US to launch a military attack on Cuba. All it needs is a final go-ahead from Donald Trump. Everything relies upon Mr. Orange over here. What is going on? The president had floated an invasion of the island after economic and political pressure failed to topple the communist government. Okay, so we're getting the US attacking Iran, Venezuela, wanting to attack Greenland. There's Cuba. Like, what is going on? What is going on? Like, we've already said that Cuba is out of oil. Cuba is in a lot of trouble, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Wednesday at a full cabinet meeting. Having a failed state 90 miles from our shores is a threat to the national security of the United States. Well, guess what? Having a failed state. I mean, I wonder why. I mean, so far, on the top of my head, Cuba was getting oil from Venezuela. The US deposed Venezuela's leader, or actually dragged him out of bed and took him to a jail in Brooklyn. Like, what is going on? That was Maduro, by the way. Maduro. Another article from AOL. You've got mail. So this is from May 15 or 15th of May if you're in Europe. Cuba near collapse. Fuel runs out. Blackout spreading. Leader Raul Castro, who is Fidel's brother, by the way, faces U.S. indictment. Have we heard this story before? Haven't I just mentioned Maduro? Are they going to drag him to the next door cell of Maduro? Like, is this Maduro's next cellmate? Let's see what's going to happen. Over here, an article from Fortune. Trump, this is a different story, but it's still about the Orange Man. Trump is building a 5,000-seat UFC, that's the fighting championship, cage outside the White House. And this is apparently a real photo, by the way. You see this cage? It looks like a Luna Park. Outside the White House to celebrate the country's 250th from 1776. To celebrate the country's 250th and his 80th birthday. I mean, an 80th birthday is a big thing. It doesn't matter who you are. But wow. You know, there have been talks about making the arch for the US's 250th birthday. They've been talking about the ballroom as well. Wow, this, but the UFC, like we've all seen Trump's Trump UFC meme. Let's do that. You've probably seen this before.
With us in the building tonight.
And the question is he going to fight? Is he going to fight outside the White House? Is it for himself? I somehow doubt it. Let's see what this is. Let's move on.
Happening at the White House, and no. Well, no, it's not the ballroom. It's a cage fighting arena.
It's a bizarre addition to help celebrate 250 years of American independence, which also falls on a big day for the president.
It needs to...
I just want to say we have a comment from one of our viewers. This cage sounds like something out of Idiocracy. Exactly. That's a good movie, by the way. When a guy goes into the future and everybody's dumb and everything is like rewinded. Yeah, this is The Cage. And I would gladly do Nicolas Cage's meme as well. The face, the vampire face. This is The Cage. Oops, not that one. But you know what I mean. This one here. You don't say. So let's go back. We have to go back, Marty. Okay.
To be seen, to be believed. The makings of a red, white and blue themed arena that will end up looking like this on the White House lawn.
Gets you over the top with that right hand.
It's to host an upcoming Ultimate Fighting Championship event.
I have never seen anybody want anything so much as people want those tickets.
The Cajun stage will be surrounded.
He also mentioned that about the UFO files. Like, I haven't seen people who have wanted them so badly. It's unprecedented. It's the greatest thing ever. Blah, 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 blah.
Surrounded by more than 4,000 seats. Tickets are free. UFC is footing the bill, but it's been reported sponsorship packages that include ringside seats have been selling for more than $1 million.
What? Wow. $1 million for these sponsorship packages. Wow. So we have like companies like Coke or whatever, and they secure ringside seats for all these like VIP rich people. Like, what is going on in the world's economy? Like, I'm going to get into this, but like on the one hand, we have loads of people who are poor as anything. And on the other hand, we have these ultra mega rich people who have completely lost touch with reality. And yeah, we have a comment saying, what do you think aliens think about Trump? Well, first of all, we need proof of aliens. Like, the latest thing is that there are like four races. I don't know what to believe. It's kind of like Friends, you know, where we have all these different people together. Like, I don't know what they think of him. They probably think of him as the Orange Man.
Trump is often seen at UFC fights and is close friends with its president.
The question is he going to make money from this? Is he seeing it as an investment? Like, are they paying money to set this whole thing up? And then they will also need to pay in money to dismantle the whole thing. I doubt that they'll keep it there. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to another story over here. That's where a former CIA officer is accused of stealing 300 gold bars. Like, how do you steal 300 gold bars? Like, I'm sure he didn't put them in his pocket. Unless, are they the small ones or the big ones that you see in like cartoons at Fort Knox? And where did he take them from? What is going on? It says the longtime senior officer was also accused of lying about his background for nearly 2 decades. You would think they would do a background check on these guys, according to court documents. But then again, the CIA is kind of undercover, but shouldn't they be operating abroad? But they are Americans. Let's have a look at this.
Stashing 300 gold bars in his house that he brushed off as work-related expenses, according to court documents, and 2 people familiar with his employment history. Julia Ainsley is joining us now at this exclusive reporting. Sorry, Julia. What?
I know.
Say
Hallie, when I
what?
first heard this tip, I didn't think it was real. And then the court documents spelled out that there was a man who was an employee of a government agency that was found with $40 million worth.
Ho, ho, ho.
40,
Green giant.
40 million. 40 million.
Worth of gold bars in his home. If you're wondering how many gold bars that is, the court document says it's about 308. What my team here at NBC News, Dan DeLuce and Gary Grumbach, and I found is that that man was not just an employee of any agency. He was a high-level official with top secret clearance in the CIA, and that he not only lied about what he was doing with this money, but that allegedly he also lied about his background, said that he graduated from a college he did not attend, that he went to a graduate school he did not attend.
He could have been anyone. He could have been from somewhere else. He could have been a foreign agent. What is going on? What is going on?
Attend, and that he had a pilot's license that the FAA said he did not have. So he was arrested last week.
He had a fake license.
And he is now in detention facing these charges of lying about his background and perhaps unknowingly embezzling American taxpayers' money. I want to read you a statement we just got in from the CIA saying that after a CIA internal investigation identified potential violations of the law, CIA Director John Ratcliffe referred the information to the FBI for a law enforcement investigation. The FBI is working closely with our partners at the CIA and the Department of Justice.
Okay, so they haven't solved this. They don't know what's going on. They're still investigating it. Yada, 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 yada. Another article, this time from aa.com.tr. I think this is a Turkish site, actually, but it's on this topic. Former CIA officer accused hiding over $40 million in gold bars at home. Federal agents also recovered $2 million in cash, 35 luxury watches, bling, bling, during search at house of officer, according to affidavit. So he was a former CIA officer, and in a joint statement, CIA and FBI said the arrest followed an internal CIA investigation. Ooh, okay. And speaking of national intelligence officers, we have U.S. Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard leaves post after rocky tenure. This is from The Guardian. This was from 6 days ago. So Tulsi Gabbard is the National Security Director. So she's in charge of all these ABC companies, FBI, NSA, CIA, and all the other ones we probably haven't heard of, including like some spacey ones with like some fancy logos. Over here, it says White House reportedly forced Gabbard to resign after she was sidelined from Iran and Venezuela operations and becomes the fourth woman to depart Trump's cabinet. Okay, because she's a woman and she was the fourth woman, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. There have been rumors or stories that her husband just got cancer. Don't quote me on that, but this is what they're saying. And maybe she just needs some time off or permanent time off. All right. However, the rabbit hole goes deeper. Okay, so Tulsi Gabbard, who was the National Security Director, okay, she apparently, according to Anna Paulina Luna, who is this one on the right, had documents. Okay, Anna Paulina Luna, this person here, she said that Tulsi Gabbard, who I showed earlier, had documents on her desk, which were from the CIA, and they were all about MKUltra brainwashing programs, as well as JFK documents. Now, these documents obviously are top secret, and these documents were taken by the CIA in a raid. Let's see what Anna Paulina Luna has to say about this.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MKUltra. The reason why this is troubling is there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MKUltra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed.
Sure they were. Sure they were. I'm sure they were all destroyed, just like the UFO files, just like they didn't have anything.
Game over.
And about the lies,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
nobody got time for that.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God. Hey,
Yeah.
Bro.
Nobody's got time for this.
So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed, and so very troubling. I did just talk.
If they never existed, you have no proof that they were taken.
To Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House, to the director of the CIA himself, and so obviously.
Now, why is this important? Okay, because we report on stuff, but it's like, why is this important? So we're getting Tulsi Gabbard resigning. We're getting Anna Paulina Luna, who says Tulsi Gabbard had these documents on her desk. Tulsi Gabbard resigned. Well, in fact, in another article that we're going to see over here, she says later on that that is fake, that piece of news was fabricated, that it never happened. And it doesn't make sense. Why would the CIA go to their boss, National Security Director, and remove the documents? But this is where you have to use your critical thinking, because the MKUltra was a declassified secret program once upon a time that was actually run by the CIA itself. And the CIA is a secretive, branch in the US government. Like, it's all about co-op, undercover, war, military operations. Even RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy. Let's see what he has to say about all of this. It's clearly not this video. Here it says, this from the New York Post, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. took aim at the CIA this week, blasting the agency for reportedly keeping a tranche of his uncle's assassination records under wraps for a sinister reason he could neither identify nor justify, but later insisted he didn't believe the claims. Now, the thing is RFK Jr. has a personal stake in this because it relates to family, but then afterwards he was told that it was fake, and he just had to go along with it. All right. So this is an article from the First Post. Did the CIA seize MKUltra files on controversial mind control experiment from Tulsi Gabbard's office? So people are questioning what exactly happened. And here it says she's at the center of a new storm, and CIA raided her office and seized 40 boxes of classified files. 40 boxes. That's a lot of files for 2 cases. That is a lot of files. That means that a lot of investigation was going on, and it possibly involves, who was it? Lee Harvey Oswald, the killer, or stuff like that. Okay, on to other secret documents and everything. Do you remember Pam Bondi, who said that she didn't have any Epstein files, that they never existed? This was before they were all redacted, before they were all released, before they were all declassified and everything. And they kind of told her off because she lied. I think she lied under oath, if I'm not mistaken. And now she's unfortunately diagnosed with cancer. To be honest, I don't wish cancer on anyone. So I think she was laid off recently. It says former U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was removed from her role last month, she's diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Now, I don't know if she quit or not, but it's pretty terrible. It says her diagnosis came shortly after President Donald Trump ousted her from the post of America's top law enforcement officer. according to the BBC's US partner, CBS News. Okay, well, this is BBC, so they always take information from some places. Let's move on. Let's move on to other news, but still regarding the North American continent. On to Canada now. The US ambassador, Canada should expect tariffs to continue. So there's been this ongoing thing with the States, with tariffs, making everything more expensive, bringing local production home, and just making the world more expensive for everyone. Here it says Canada, this is from Reuters from yesterday, Canada turns from US to Europe as Iran war propels aluminium higher. So Canada is probably finding it expensive to make metals, and aluminium, as you know, is made for many products, like from containers to cars to cans. I mean, hell, even your aluminium foil that you put in the oven or cover sandwiches, depending on whatever you use it. I mean, it's all made from places. Here it says Europe faces 5.6 million ton aluminium deficit. Because this is the thing, this whole world is getting so much more expensive that it's affecting all sectors in all different industries. So let's move on. And before I start the next section, I'm just going to say again, the cost of everything is so much more expensive and it's driving everyone crazy. So maybe before taking any actions, just take like 5 minutes, sit down by yourself and think about things before you do things, because everything is going crazy. Now, in this live stream, I'm reporting events that are taking place around the world, but I'm also combining them with social media to make them more interesting, because I don't want to just talk about these politicians and organizations and industries and companies and all this. I'm trying to mix it up with how it's affecting the daily person, the average person on the street. So this next section, I'm going to emphasize and make a point how bad things are regarding price, regarding cost, regarding mentality. And I'm just going to start with this TikTok video.
My name's Saskia. I'm just from over there.
Saskia.
Yeah. And I always come and say hello.
Oh, man.
Hello.
Sorry.
Oh,
Start again.
hello. My name's Saskia. I'm just from over there.
Yeah.
And I always come and say hello to people that have moved in. But I heard that are you a renter?
Me?
Yes, like you haven't bought the house, you're just renting it.
Yeah, you're right there.
You're just a renter. You don't own the house. This is in the UK, and newsflash, but a lot of people don't own their houses. Like they can barely afford rent. But this neighbor went to this guy who is renting his house, and she's making fun of him.
Right, okay, because most of us around here, we do actually own our properties, so it kind of makes you in the minority, as it were.
Minority?
Okay. As a renter.
Okay, I don't really mind that, but yeah, carry on.
Okay, well, anyway, we want to welcome you to our street. And as such, we all live together, we're all living in the same community. So what
we're all living together in the same community.
What we've done as a group is we've put together a little kind of code of conduct.
I hate this group stuff. I hate these rules. I hate code of conduct. Like everybody should have some decent respect, but you don't go knocking on somebody's door to teach them how they're behaving. Okay, let me just move on.
Are you a renter? Bought the house, you're just renting it?
Yeah, you're right there.
Right. Okay. Because most of us around here, we do actually own our properties, so it kind of makes you in the minority, as it were.
This is a sort of like not racism, but
okay, I don't really mind that, but yeah, carry on.
Discrimination.
Well,
against
anyway,
people who don't own their houses.
We want to welcome you to our street. And as such, we all live together, we're all living in the same community. So what we've done as a group is we've put together a little kind of code of conduct. So we got together the other night and we all sort of noticed that
we have somebody in the comments. Actually, it's my co-host Bird, and he referred that song that I have to tread carefully saying. And as you can see over here, my name is Edge. My nickname is Edge. And there's an old song which goes, "Don't push him because he's close to the edge." Ha 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 ha. And he makes a point. Today, you own nothing, but every corporation owns you through your data.
You don't really keep regular hours. So like sometimes you're coming home at 3 p.m. Sometimes it's 7 p.m. I mean, Jane from across the way thought she saw your car coming in at 1 a.m.
Oh no, Jane said
what's wrong with
1 a.m.
Well, nothing per se. It's just that we all live in this lovely street.
She's so slimy. Look at her body language. It's like, we all do this and that, and so you can't come back at 1 a.m. Like, these people are passive aggressive, policing.
Own our house. Oh, sorry, apart from you renting. We all own.
Oh no, you're renting.
And just just so that we all know how things go and how we look after each other. It's just nice to know when people come and go. I mean, most people are kind of.
Do you own this house?
Well, no, but
even if she did, he's renting.
So most people work about 8.
Oh my God! He told her, "Are you renting this house?" Like, what? What?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Fatality. Game over.
What?
All right, so let's have a look.
8 a.m. and then we.
But there's nothing in my agreement. Sorry to hold you on, Baskia or whatever your name was. Saskia. Yeah. There's nothing in my contract with the estate agents or the landlord which says I need to come back home at a certain time.
No, there wouldn't be, because this is like a private road code of conduct.
Exactly. So, that's why I moved to this private road. But there's nothing of saying there's rules or anything like that. Like, this is my house. I'm living here. So yeah.
And we're all really pleased to let you stay for a while.
We're all really pleased to let you stay for a while. Wow.
Your rented house.
But you're
in your rented house.
I don't need your approval for like me to stay here.
Oh no, it's nothing about approval. It's
all right. She's
how much is your lemonade, sweetie?
It costs $10.
So we're going on to the cost of living, and let's all go to a perfect example of a little girl at a lemonade stand. Because nothing shows inflation more than that.
$10 a cup, read the sign.
Dang.
That's some good lemonade, I bet.
That's
$10?
Crazy. I only have $1.
I take Apple Pay.
Well, my Apple Pay doesn't work right now.
Listen, if you're broke, then just say that.
What kind of a 4-year-old are you?
What kind of a girl that doesn't have $10?
What?
You married this guy?
You know what,
Who charges $10 for a cup?
Next.
I hope the city comes and shuts you down.
I'm not running a charity here.
How much?
I know it's a parody, but it does reflect real life. That is the joke about all of this.
In what world?
Okay, so we have another video from last year. It was taken. And this is actually, the receipt is dated 16th of January 25. But it seems like some people paid a lot of money at a restaurant. So they bought like a ribeye, wagyu, like the Japanese steak, where they feed these cows with beer and stuff. So they charged that steak $92. There's a sea bass, $46. A bottle of Pinot Noir, $72. house champagne, $99. So these people, they bought like very expensive stuff from this restaurant, like it's probably elite or something like that. I mean, the total amount for this bill was, including tax was $30, but the total was $377, and they tipped $18. And the waitress wrote, FYI, for your information, people like you ruin the service industry. This person tipped $18. Like, I get the tipping culture in the States, but this person did leave a tip. And just because they're buying an expensive meal doesn't reflect the service of what they're paying. Like, I don't get the States. Like, if you want people to pay, just pay a tip compulsory, like stick it in the bill. I mean, that's what they do in the UK. Sometimes they already put like a 10% service charge. I mean, what's ridiculous in other countries, especially Southern European countries, is that they add water, they add bread, they add all these things to the bill. Like, did they ask you if you wanted them? They don't put that on the bill. But let's have a look.
Is an $18 tip not good enough? I tip based on service, not based on the amount of the total bill.
Fair enough.
And they wrote on my receipt, people like you ruin the service industry. Follow for part 2.
I mean, you've probably seen Reservoir Dogs, where there's Mr. Pink, Steve Buscemi, who talks about tipping, like if it should be compulsory or not. So here is a meme from the Marvel universe. We all know Avengers Doomsday is coming out this December. However, I wanted to point it out because there was the scene in Avengers Infinity War or Endgame, I don't remember, where there's Thanos and his daughter Gamora, and his daughter tells him, what did it cost? And Thanos says, everything, because spoiler alert, he sacrifices her to get what he wants. And this has been turned into different memes, okay? And here, the section of the end stream is talking about the cost of living, how everything is so much more expensive. What did it cost? Everything. Now, this site talks about memes and why is it important to current events? Because, like, okay, so they're even making fun of the EU in this meme. But here, the search interest has gone steadily up. So maybe memes, this is from Google Trends, by the way. So maybe memes kind of reflect the world in that there's more interest in memes regarding everything becoming more expensive. Let's move on.
At this warehouse in eastern Pennsylvania, medical bandages and dressings are being...
This is from CNBC 5 days ago. It said it's called From Bandages to Fertilizers, How the Iran War is Disrupting Global Trade. So let's have a look at this.
Whenever there's any type of international, problem, oil is, the first to rise.
Petroleum derivatives are used in Gentel's products and in fuel for its vehicles. Petrochemicals are used for packaging.
We're looking at about 24% increase in cost for us to produce this product.
If the war stretches on for another, let's say...
I mean, in the States, medicines and anything medical related is way over expensive. It's the same as college education over there. But here we're talking about basic things. We're talking about Band-Aids. We're not really talking about luxuries yet. We're going to get into luxuries in a bit. But he also talks about fertilizers. And the reason why fertilizers are important is related to the price of food. Because when you buy food, if fertilizers and things like pesticides and water and machinery and everything that comes before it, including oil, becomes more expensive, then by de facto, the cost of food is more expensive, which means survival is getting difficult. Here we have an article from NPR or KCUR. I'm not sure what this is. It says your grocery bill could get even more expensive as fuel prices climb, just like I said. So this was published in April, so it was last month. The economic uncertainty brought on from the war in Iran will drive up US food prices. It's not just the US, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's affecting food prices for everything from bread to salamis to veg. Another article from this time NPR is saying more people are going hungry now than at the height of the pandemic. They're probably referring to COVID. And hang on, I just need to check something. Okay, somebody in the comments said, great stream so far. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Be sure to subscribe, like, leave more comments, share it with your friends. Okay, so back to this article. It says, more people are going hungry now than at the height of the pandemic, which we know in COVID times, it was ridiculous. There was a food shortage because people couldn't go out, people couldn't work, people couldn't do anything. And the few people that had access to supermarkets found them fully stocked. But it was restricted at some point, and people were running out of food at home. Like, it's crazy to think that we've come full circle after COVID, and now we're free to roam the streets, we're free to go outside, and yet we are being restricted by the cost of everything. This article was from yesterday, by the way. CNN said yesterday, new Fed report warns of remarkable increase in households skipping meals due to food cost. Skipping meals. Oh, I'll skip breakfast. I'll skip tea time. I'll skip lunch. I'll skip dinner. Like, what is going on? Dinner or supper, depending on where you come from. It says there's been a remarkable increase over the past few years in Americans struggling to put food on the table. Well, you guys have expensive education and healthcare and stuff, but you have fuel that's cheaper. I mean, it's bad in Europe. It's bad everywhere. It's terrible. It's terrible. Like, we're talking about food here. We're not talking about goods. Now, let me move on. Let's move on. Now, I want to point out that we are at the beginning of the summertime. Like, Europe is going through this heat wave at the moment. It feels pretty hot, depending on where you are. It's around 30 degrees Celsius. And a lot of things people do, or rather a lot of people used to do, but still do to some extent, is going places on holidays, to events, to see different things. And the next thing I'm going to show relates to the 90s, which is kind of the vibe we want to give off here at NTV. You know, NTV is kind of like a spin on a famous brand, but not copying, just giving it a twist. So let's talk about music. Let's start off with music, and then we'll move on to other stuff. So over here, this is Kurt Cobain, as you know, the lead singer from Nirvana. I'm just saying, you know, in case you were born like 10 years ago. Well, we're not showing this video to kids, but it's a joke. Like, if you're 18 or something, like people who were born in 2000 and hang on, right now it's 2026. So people born in 2008 are now 18, if you would believe this. So maybe some people don't know who Kurt Cobain is, but he's a famous rock singer.
What do you think of artists who do charge anywhere between $50 to $75 for tickets?
Who charges that much money? Who does
Apparently.
that? Madonna.
How much
does?
do we charge a ticket, John?
Yeah, but that's like a burlesque show.
It's a big production, isn't it?
27?
12?
You can speak.
Is that 12 or 21?
17 to 18 bucks a ticket? Wow.
Madonna charges $50.
Apparently. 50 to 75.
Madonna wears fur too. Did you know that?
Yeah. We were talking about, boy, we should charge.
This was back in the 90s. So back in the 90s, $50. All right. Like Madonna charging a ticket. But it's interesting how Kurt Cobain is shocked by this.
Well, talk
talking about that human connection and the kid at the Texaco station.
Here we have Dave Grohl, the drummer of Nirvana, and the lead singer of Foo Fighters. But this was back in 2001, and how it relates to Napster.
An odd, dangerous place, because I think they have that connection again with Napster.
Now, Napster was a free, or should I say illegal pirate place to download MP3s. It was the first major platforms where people could illegally download MP3s.
I think kids are out there thinking, hey, for once we're not getting screwed, we're kind of getting let in, and this is cool. I talk to kids, they can't believe it. My son's young friends, that they could actually, and now, I thought that Lars guy was taking a big, dangerous step. Now, you got to admire.
Now, that was Lars Ulrich, the drummer of Metallica. So we have here Dave Grohl, the drummer of Nirvana, and they're talking about Lars Ulrich, the drummer of Metallica, and there was this huge, how can I, hang on a sec. There was this huge show about Napster being illegal. So Metallica was against Napster, but other bands like Limp Bizkit were all for Napster. And that led the path for everybody to stop buying CDs, tapes, and records, even though with nostalgia, vinyls records are coming back or have already come back. What I want to get at is that this is all about the cost and the expense of, like, how expensive everything is and whether people should have access to different sorts of media if they can afford it or not.
For following his heart, but it's a
know
pretty dangerous step to disconnect from those kids.
I think that the thing about music is that music should be available to anybody that wants to hear it. I think that there should be no such thing as a price tag on music. Okay, maybe there's a price tag on the package that you buy. You pay $13 for a CD, you get the artwork, you get the jewel box, you get the friggin' sticker, you get the whole nine, whatever. But I don't want to turn on my fucking radio and have to put a nickel in it to hear Metallica. Like, I don't want to have
to... took a stab at Metallica.
Ho, 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 ho.
Green giant.
Game over.
All right. So there was this whole thing about Metallica, and around 2001, they released, or before they even released a song for the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack called I Disappear. It was leaked. It was leaked online, and these guys didn't get any money from it. They did get worldwide recognition, as it was one of the main, one of the first main MP3s that were widely shared. But we have Lars Ulrich. I mean, sure, Metallica has great music, but this guy is pretty annoying. Let's have a look.
Holy crap! Do you know who you are? You're freaking Lars Ulrich from Metallica. I love everything you do. Well, except for that bad show you hosted.
You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to whore myself out if you kids didn't steal my music.
Whoa. We're not stealing, okay? We're just sharing with each other,
So it's like if I take this soda can right here, take a sip out of it.
Oh my God, I'm sharing
He's stuck a Napster sticker on it.
my soda with Lars Ulrich.
It's like those ads. You didn't download a car.
You know what? I'm just sharing 10 years of groupies with you, frat boy.
All right.
Alex Winter.
Let's move on. And
carries regret around with me on my shoulders a lot. I'd say the only regret about that 13 years ago was that we were not quite prepared. I think you used the word shit before, so I'll say we weren't quite prepared for the shitstorm that sort of that we became engulfed in.
Yeah, all right. So I just want to say that the price of concert tickets is off the roof, as these people don't sell physical albums unless it's some special edition thing. Like, the physical aspect of products is now a luxury. Dave Grohl, who is famous for the Foo Fighters, well, concert tickets for the 2026 Take Cover Tour range from $75 to $350. That's 70 euros to 320 euros. And VIP and other tickets can go over $600. That applies to North America, Europe, Australia. And like regarding Metallica, they're now on their what is it called? Let me see. Metallica is basically on tour now, like throughout Europe and the world. And their tickets range from $88 to over $350 per ticket. And they have like enhanced experiences for other ones, like $500 to $3,500, but those are for like insane fans or people who can afford it. But these tickets, they range from $88 or like $100 to $350. And that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a ticket. And why is this happening? Why is this happening?
Oh my God, Anthony, why are geese tickets $400? Well, I've done a video about this, and it is because major ticket sellers like Ticketmaster as well as Live Nation have essentially made possible like the worst era of scalping we have ever seen in the history of the modern music.
So, scalpers. So we're getting people who are buying all these tickets, be it to all these like festivals and concerts and everything. They're buying all these tickets en masse, like Glastonbury, where tickets sell out in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Like they will get bought out and then they're sold elsewhere.
Music industry, where now the market for concert tickets isn't just local, it's...
And these scalpers also expand to other industries. We're talking about Star Wars collectors' toys. We're talking about vintage comics. We're talking about sports shoes. Like, what is going on?
Global. Scalpers basically buy these things in mass by starting.
And they buy everything left over. They buy everything so they can charge whatever they want.
Numerous accounts, either by paying other people to do the purchases or by doing bots, that sort of thing. And then
bots. My co-host Bird referred to botting the previous day, like regarding Hassan Piker and Asmongold. Like all these streamers are also using bots. So there's bots in scalping and making loads of money. There's bots on social media. There's bots everywhere. This whole world has gone body.
All of a sudden you start seeing ticket prices like this when you go to buy it.
General admission, 1,100 for Geese. Is Geese a band? Maybe I'm unfamiliar. This is in Wisconsin, 17th of October for 25. Like one ticket costs 1,100 for general admission. I'm assuming this is for standing up. Although this is for 4 tickets, let's be fair. That says it in the fine print, but it's like $300 each.
Ticket to a show for this band. Oh, you know, it could be cool to see this artist. Yeah, it might be, but you know, you're gonna put down a G to see it. Thankfully, right now, Ticketmaster is in the midst of getting sued by the FTC for this exact practice.
Oh.
But you know, given how corrupt and nasty things are looking like,
man, these companies like Ticketmaster, they love this thing. The people selling these tickets, they just like sell out immediately. It's absolutely disgusting, and I am not putting up with this. I am not paying for any expensive concert ticket, no matter how much I want to support the singer or the band or whatever. If it costs over my threshold, I am just not going to go. I am voting with my wallet.
I bought this CD back in 1999. When I bought this CD back in 1999, it cost $16. That's $31 in today's money. 15 songs for $31. This, selling these tapes before that, records before that, is how artists used to make money. 15 cents of every dollar spent on an album went straight to the artist. And then it broke hard and fast. Fans loved it. There were rarely 10 good songs on an album. Streaming solved that problem, guaranteeing that the streaming genie was not going to go back into the bottle and sending artists scrambling to figure out how to capture more of the money they felt they deserved. That turned out to be concerts. Going on tour used to be about promoting a new album, not about making money from ticket sales. which is why the cost of a concert ticket has gone up by 175%. While the cost to you, dear music lover, to listen to as much music as you want in a year has gone down to $130, putting artists, especially major artists like Taylor Swift, at odds with the company that sells tickets to their concerts, Ticketmaster.
Wow. So yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, the music model used to be different before. They used to sell physical CDs and things. But the problem back then was that when you went into a CD store, record store, a tape store, an entertainment store, you didn't know what all the other songs were like, unless they had it on one of those things that you could play, and you had these headphones and you were like this, or you figured out that the CD sucked or not, because like bands usually had one hit, which was the only good song. And then you were like, if you bought the CD, you were stuck with all these other songs that completely sucked. But it didn't apply to everywhere. So we have a comment saying survival of the richest, lower form existence are scalpers. Yes, they are the bottom of the barrel, like leeches. We should ban the internet to ban scalpers. I'm up for that. Safety first. Yes, absolutely.
FIFA is facing.
So the World Cup is coming up. I mentioned that in my previous live stream. And scalpers are not just limited to music.
Facing calls to answer questions now after allegations of artificially inflating prices and misleading fans over the sale of tickets for the upcoming World Cup. The attorneys general of New York and New Jersey have officially launched an investigation into FIFA's practices. This is all coming a little over 2 weeks before the tournament kicks off.
FIFA has been famous for different scandals, like with people higher up in FIFA, or rigged matches and stuff. So this doesn't surprise me at all.
New Jersey's top prosecutor called FIFA's ticketing a gauntlet of confusion, fake scarcity, and impossibly high prices. FIFA has declined to answer our request for comment.
Now, I'm unsure who actually decides on the prices. Is it the venues or is it the organization? I mean, I'm sure they all get their share of the pie. All right, let's move on to other very interesting news. Or should I say current events, because we don't cover news, we cover current events. So there's this event that happens every 2 years that is called, hang on, let me find it for you. Okay, there's an event called the Venice Biennale and La Biennale di Venezia. So it's an international cultural exhibition hosted every 2 years in Venice. I mean, that probably explains the name, you know, Biennale, like 2 years. And what is this about? So over here, it says, so I have some news on this. So it's triggered a major political and cultural clash inside Italy and across Europe. Critics within the EU argue Russia should remain isolated internationally because of the Ukraine conflict, while some Italian conservatives and cultural figures insist Brussels should not dictate artistic or national cultural decisions. The controversy has become symbolic of a wider struggle over sovereignty, censorship, European identity, and the limits of EU influence over member states. So there are some points to make that. So this is basically an art exhibition in Italy, and it opens up one of the biggest questions Europe is facing right now. Like, what happens when politics starts taking over culture? Because there's a difference. There's politics and there's culture. And culture encompasses things like art, music, entertainment. Culture is also a part of history. It's part of human heritage. It's part of who we are. It's kind of like identity. Like, would you strip people of their identity and of their culture just because of your political ideas? And culture is identity. And like I mentioned before, and this whole topic is all about censorship, sovereignty, politics, war, and if governments should be controlled, if government should control culture. And okay, so this event, the Venice Biennale, hang on, let me show an article. This one is from Brussels Signal. Okay, this one is from Brussels Signals. So if you've never heard of it before, it's one of the most important art exhibitions in the world. Countries from all over have their own pavilions where they showcase artists, ideas, films, installations, and national culture. So like identity, think of it like the Olympics or the World Cup of modern art. Now, Russia has been absent from the Biennale since 2022 after the Russian-Ukrainian conflict began. Across Europe, a lot of institutions cut ties with Russia politically, economically, and culturally. But now Russia is returning to the 2026 Biennale. And this has triggered a massive argument across Europe. Some EU officials and critics are basically saying, how can Europe say it stands with Ukraine while also welcoming Russia back into a major cultural events? To them, culture is not neutral anymore. The argument is that art creates influence. Culture shapes public opinion, prestige matters internationally, and allowing Russia back gives them legitimacy and soft power. I mean, here we're talking about art, we're talking about culture, we're talking about what? So we have a comment from my co-host. They've been trying since the 2000s to break down individual identity, which is why we see so much confusion and disenfranchisement within younger generations today. It's true. And, but like from what I mentioned before, cultural isolation becomes part of the political pressure campaign. And on the flip side, especially some Italian conservatives, artists, and sovereignty-focused voices are saying, hang on, since when does Brussels decide when Italy can or cannot do culturally? Like, it's like double standards. Like, they shouldn't be dictating on culture. And this is where the debate becomes way bigger than art, because now it's about sovereignty. Who actually controls cultural decisions inside Europe? Is it national governments or EU institutions? I mean, this is one of the biggest problems we've had in the EU, and that is the difference between EU law and the law within each country. There's so much divide, like supposedly EU law is above each country's law, but what happens when through all this bureaucracy, like they clash? And the people defending Russia's return are arguing art should stay open, culture shouldn't become ideological, and once politics starts deciding who is allowed to participate culturally, you move dangerously close to censorship. And censorship, I don't know about you guys, but I am mostly against it. And I understand that there have to be regulations sometimes, but censoring like an art fair or not allowing somebody to participate is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of like Eurovision. I mean, you saw the entire that Banga Banga was. Like, are you kidding me? Are you taking this seriously? And honestly, whether you agree or disagree, you can understand why this debate gets emotional very quickly. I mean, it's kind of like the feuds online. Like whenever you talk about politics or religion or anything like that, there's always people having conflicts. People are always arguing. Nobody is ever happy. People will never agree with each other. Now, let's face it, Russian culture has had an enormous impact on world civilization. We're talking about Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, Kandinsky, Chekhov, and I'm not talking about the Star Trek guy. Now, Russian literature has shaped modern storytelling. Russian music has shaped classical composition. Russian ballet influenced dance around the world. I mean, it's a huge country, let's face it, with a huge historical background. Even Soviet filmmaking techniques influenced modern cinema and editing. And I mean, hell, the country has even influenced so many things in science. All right, let's move on. It's why, oh yeah. Critics of cultural bans ask a difficult question. Can you separate a government from a civilization's culture? Like, are people different to their government or how they run? And because some people, they hear phrases like ban Russian culture, and then some immediately respond with, okay, but where does that stop? Like, do you stop performing Tchaikovsky? Do you stop teaching Dostoevsky? Do you remove Russian art from museums? Like, how far does this thing go before turning into madness, like complete insanity? And that's because culture is bigger than governments. Governments change, political systems change, borders change, but the art, the music, and everything like that is timeless. And this is the cost of culture, the cost of generations. This is why I showed you the cost of tickets becoming more expensive as opposed to before. And it's like Dave Grohl said, music should be free. Kurt Cobain was shocked by how much Madonna was charging. And we're getting hypocrites like Metallica saying, oh, we don't want our music to be free, even though the person in the interview from earlier, who was speaking to Lars Ulrich, said that he even downloaded I Disappear to Lars Ulrich, but then he mentioned to Lars that he bought the CD after it. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, culture is endless. Culture is eternal. Culture is how civilizations speak to each other over centuries. It's in music, books, film, art, architecture, theater. These things outlive wars. These things outlive clashes. And honestly, one of the reasons culture matters so much is because it's often the last remaining bridge between people and when politics completely breaks down. Governments can hate each other while ordinary people still listen to each other's music, still read each other's books, still watch each other's films. Culture humanizes societies to one another. Without that, countries slowly stop seeing each other as people and start only seeing enemies, propaganda, stereotypes. And honestly, one way to understand why this whole debate makes people uncomfortable is to flip the situation around. This is the way I've thought about it, because let's turn the tables a little bit, okay? Because we're talking about, not accepting Russia in this, like, in the Venice Biennale, like modern art exhibition, which influences different factors. However, imagine no French cinema. So what about that? What if you got other countries being banned? Like, what if you disallowed French cinema? So you won't have films like Amélie, Le Grand Bleu, what is it? Jean de Florette. Like, you wouldn't have like these iconic films. What about British music? I mean, you wouldn't have bands like the Beatles, Queen, Sex Pistols. What about no Italian exhibitions, right? So over here, we have, there are exhibitions happening all over Europe for different events, different media, for different things. And one example of an event is in another place in Italy. And this is on the third Sunday of May in Fiorata Festival. So it's basically, they make flowers. Well, they have flowers and they make carpets out of these flowers, like into designs and things. And it's pretty impressive. Like, you know how brittle and fragile flowers are. I mean, look at this. This was made with flowers. Okay. Would you ban such a thing? I mean, it's two people hugging or something. Here we have the Virgin Mary. Would you ban this sort of thing? And you get different art, different culture all over. Like, would you ban this sort of thing? This can be considered modern art as well. Would you ban this? Like, why would you ban it? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Would you like your favorite movies banned? Would you like your favorite art banned? Would you like your favorite anything banned? We're talking like even classical music and stuff. Like it just doesn't make sense. Everything is free on the internet apart from your internet bill. We have a comment, everything gets more expensive. And due to that, there will be pirates because people obviously can't afford. Like I experienced this with video games. Like recently I bought Forza Horizon 6, completely off topic. However, it was pretty expensive. I wanted to support the developers, and the game was actually leaked the day before it was released. And there was this huge controversy about it and saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't download it. And who is it? Microsoft Games or Studios or something. They said, oh, we're going to crack down. We're going to find whoever pirates our game and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, this game is a multiplayer game. However, the people who downloaded it are probably playing it solo, single player, but I bought it just to have the multiplayer thing of it. However, they did charge a lot of money, but I can't afford all games. So I'm not going to say anything else, but it's just a matter that if people are restricted from access to certain things, to access to music, to access to things, they will find a way. If people can't afford cinema tickets or concert tickets, they're going to find other ways to watch it. They might not be in a concert, but they might watch it on YouTube, for example. Okay, we have a comment. The people will always find a way, no matter how much the stupid industry or establishment try to crack down. Exactly. And instead of supporting people who like them and supporters, they're trying to mess them up. They're trying to make everything more expensive. They're trying to take advantage of their fans. I mean, I'm not saying anything about Metallica because they have a lot of fans out there, but they are charging a hell of a lot for their tickets. And it's not just because their concerts are being sold out. It's not just a supply and demand thing. Like they could have lowered the tickets and had a concert for over 2 days, for example. I'm just saying, like it's just making bank. Okay, so there used to be an article here. Oh yeah, it's Euronews. EU countries back suspension of funding for the Venice Biennale over Russian participation. Okay, all right. Okay, so they've turned this cultural fair into a political event, into a political thing. And what would von der Leyen do? Yeah, obviously they're turning it into a political thing. All right. So let's mess up culture. Let's mess up culture. They should not mix politics or things like that with culture, especially to Russia that has such a heritage regarding things. Like no matter what your stance is in the Ukrainian conflict, you cannot decline that culture is eternal. Like these things will stay no matter what. Like it doesn't matter how much you ban them or anything, people will find a way. And like Jurassic Park, life will find a way. Life will go on. Let's find that clip. Life finds a way. Away, Jurassic Park. Let's see.
Do it all with ad-free.
Not that. All right.
Listening, song downloads, and more on the YouTube Music app.
There it is. Let's see where it is.
How do you?
Okay, so it's by him. Okay, let's go. Jeff Goldblum, The Fly.
Of evolution has taught us that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is.
There it is.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will...
There it is.
Breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That's it. That's it. And that is culture. Culture will find a way. Culture will find a way.
Russia's participation in a 2026...
Okay, take this site with a grain of salt because it's Euronews and it's controlled by the Commission, EU Commission and Parliament and whatever.
Edition of the Venice Biennale continues to cause friction between Italian institutions and Brussels, with deep disagreements within Giorgia Meloni's government.
Okay, one thing. Okay, this person, I'm sorry about this person because they're getting a wage. But this person is speaking in English with a French accent. Like, can you stop doing this? Like in Europe, we have people who speak English, who are English, or who know how to speak, who have an English voice, or even like, for example, if I speak French, I will speak with a French. I would not speak like this. I would not like make fun of another language or je ne sais quoi. Like for God damn it, like find somebody who speaks English properly, or if they speak French, have the French accent, but don't have somebody with a German accent speaking Chinese in China or something like that. It just doesn't make sense. It like drives me up the wall. And you know what else drives me up the wall? I'm sorry to say this, but it's a thing. Voice dubs over somebody who is currently speaking. So you have somebody speaking French on one of these like Euro News or what is it, Eurosport channel. So there's somebody speaking French or Italian or Spanish or whatever, and there's somebody else in a local language speaking on top of that voice. So then you hear like both voices, and it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, are you guys serious? It's like, what is your problem? Like, this is nonsensical. Like, can you please stop doing this thing? Okay, like stop doing this thing. Like, I don't know if I'm taking it personally, but I am just sick and tired. Like, if you voice dub, just have the voice dub. If you have subtitles, just have the subtitles. But do not have two people at once. Yada, yada, and then you hear like both voices, and you're like, what is going on? Like, just stop this N-shitification. This thing should never have even started. This thing should stop. Like, stop doing this thing. Okay? Thanks. All right.
The Venice Biennale gets off to a stormy start with protests over Russia's involvement. Resignations, boycotts and threats to cut funding. The Venice Biennale has begun in turmoil. There have been protests over the return of Russia for the first time since the Ukraine war. And the Russian punk protest group Pussy Riot and Ukraine's Femen have staged a joint protest.
So these protesters, I'm sorry to say, that everyone with an ounce of intelligence knows that they're just doing this for attention. Like these people going topless, these people doing these absurd things, or it reminds me of people who throw paint on over art galleries and museums and everything, like throwing paint on these old paintings. It's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are eradicating culture. Just stop it. Just stop this madness. Stop this thing. I'm getting very frustrated right now. I need to cool down. Like, I can't take this. I cannot take this anymore. Okay? Cool.
Together, Sarah Rainsford was there.
This is what the Venice Biennale looks like being
I don't even want to show them anymore, to be honest. I am so tired and frustrated by all this madness, all this nonsense, all this. It's ridiculous. Okay, on to other news. Let's move on, and let me just get the gong ready. All right, what am I going to be talking about next? And I'm going to be talking about something related to the economy and the cost of living and all this stuff, because everything is somehow interconnected. And this time it's about the fertility rate. Fertility rate falls to record low in England and Wales, new data reveals. This is from yesterday. So basically, long story short, this also applies to other countries like Greece and other countries in Europe that have severe economic problems because they can't afford energy. Like, if people can't afford to survive, is it a time to have kids? Is it a time? Okay, so the normal fertility rates should be 2. So we're getting 2 people having a kid or having 2 kids, and then the parents die, and these 2 people replace their parents. That's how it goes. But we're getting rates 1.4 in the UK. All right, let's move on to other ones. So let's take, for example, Greece in the south of Europe. So over here, we have a website, Statista, and it shows the country in Europe with the worst fertility rate in Europe. And by fertility rate, I don't mean if people can have kids on their own. It's just people not having kids. And on the top, we see in the 1960s, it was up to 2.45. However, so 2.45 kids replacing their parents. So there would be more kids than parents. Now, okay, this one goes up to 2023. It's 1.3. And this is why Elon Musk says that in the future, there won't be enough people to repay into the pension system due to inflation, due to the government stealing pension money and not using it properly. And it's just madness. It's madness. And because it was Greek stats, it's not just madness. This is Sparta. This is Sparta. I'm just going to talk about a few more topics before I wrap up. And the next one is something I haven't checked out until now. Let's have a look. It's true crime. Let's get into true crime because we don't really report on true crime on our channel, but it is related to like world news. Here it says cruise ship killing from ABC News. Stepbrother can stay out of jail, judge rules. So there's a teen who's accused of killing Anna Kepner on a Carnival cruise in November. Imagine going on a cruise and being killed. Like you pay loads of money. And I mean, there's a documentary on Netflix about a different cruise ship where the electrics turned off, the toilets didn't work, people were drinking, it was utter chaos. Like I read these kind of things, I see these kind of things on Netflix, on TV, and I'm like, I don't want to be on a cruise ship. Why would I want to go? It sounds terrible. It doesn't sound fun.
New evidence tonight in the disturbing cruise ship murder. An 18-year-old girl allegedly killed by her stepbrother. Her body found under a bed in the cabin, hidden by blankets and life jackets. What prosecutors have now revealed. Here's ABC's Victor Oquendo.
Today, the Florida teenager charged with sexually assaulting and killing his 18.
I just want to make an important point that one of our commenters wrote is that in regards to the previous article, is that elder people should work more. I mean, that's what governments do, right? They increase it's not the life expectancy getting bigger for people to work more. It's governments expecting people to work until they're 70, 80, 90. I mean, when we get old, God knows what the age cap will be. There probably won't be an age cap. We probably won't get any pension, but they would expect us to work forever by default. I mean, the way things are so expensive, how are we going to afford bills when we're old? But yeah, let's go back to this cruise ship thing.
18-year-old stepsister on a Carnival cruise appearing in court.
Timothy, do you have anything you want to say?
A federal judge ruling Timothy Hudson, now 16 years old, can remain with family ahead of his trial for the murder of Anna Kepner.
Did he say he was 16 years old? He's 16 years old and he killed his stepsister on a cruise. Like, this sort of thing should be addressed. There is a serious problem that people need help. People need help. This is not good. This is not normal.
Anna Kepner's father speaking out for the first time since authorities believe his 18-year-old daughter was murdered by her 16-year-old stepbrother on board a Carnival cruise.
That kind of took us for a loop. It was hard. Being in her place to do that is very hard.
Christopher Kepner.
What is going on? What is going on? And in these cases, who's responsible? Is it the parents? Like, what do you say to this girl's parents? What do you say to these sort of tragedies? There's always people suffering. All right. I'm going to have a very small segment with AI and technology before we wrap up. So we've been talking about everything being so expensive lately. So everything is so expensive. But let's look on the flip side. Let's look on to people who can afford things, or things that are made to be sold to people who can somehow afford things. And there is a new Ferrari that has been made. It's called the Ferrari Luce, which means light. I guess they want it to be like super sporty. But this Ferrari, the latest one, has faced immense criticism because it's ugly.
Ferrari's first ever electric car, but it doesn't even look like a real Ferrari. What have they done?
The Luce is the biggest Ferrari ever made. It's longer than an Audi Q8 and wider than a London width restrictor. Have fun driving this around Knightsbridge, guys, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Many Ferrari customers don't actually care about performance. They want a car that looks good on their social media feed. But
doesn't look that good.
I think this thing looks dreadful. The front is a little...
There you go. He said it looks dreadful.
A little bit like a cyberpunk Fiat Multipla, and the side resembles...
I mean, it looks okay, but it doesn't look like anything special, to be honest.
A reskinned Jaguar I-Pace. Some of the wheel designs are good, but those...
Doesn't look anything different than normal.
Roulette wheel rims belong on a Tesla Cybercab. Yuck. However, its worst angle is around the back. It looks like someone crashed a 360 Modena into a random Chinese EV. Hard.
And all these cars are looking like a default EV type thing. They all are boxy. I don't understand why they can't make an electric vehicle that is sporty. I mean, there was that one that Elon Musk sent into space. That was the only sporty Tesla, to be honest with you. Let's see. Let's remind ourselves that he launched his car into space a long time ago. I mean, who knows where it is right now? I don't know if it crashed.
And it isn't just me who hates it, because it's actually fast braking, a bit like downshift stack up into 2.2-ton EVs. But there's one thing we haven't discussed yet, and it's something that could make or break this car. How much it costs. Well, there's no easy way to say this. It's £474,000 starting. That's
that price, if you're in the US, is $640,000 or 550,000 euros. And this is a starting price because you'll probably need some extras. I mean, what is going on? Like, who is this for? Is it for these EU politicians?
The new electric Ferrari is probably the most misunderstood car ever, and it's not for the reason you might think. So this is the Ferrari Luce, and this car has been receiving Cybertruck levels of hate online. I have not seen a single person say that they like the way this car looks. And I gotta admit, the first time I saw this thing, I thought it was a joke. It just doesn't look like anything Ferrari has ever released. But what most people don't understand is that Ferrari designed this car to fail on purpose. Johnny Ive, who designed some of the most iconic Apple products and helped design this car as well, said,
how did they design it to fail on purpose? Like, I don't get the argument. Let's have a look.
That they knew that most people thought this car was destined to fail. If Ferrari was trying to make a car that everyone liked, they would have made it look like a Ferrari, sound like a Ferrari. It probably would not have been electric. This car is supposed to cause friction and make people feel uncomfortable. You don't make change in an industry.
Kind of like Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I mean, no offense, but he put a black woman for Helen of Troy when in The Odyssey, Homer wrote that she was fair-skinned. And not only does the actress play Helen of Troy, but she's playing her sister as well. And Elliot Page, who was Helen Page, is playing Achilles. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, what is going on? Like, I mean, sure, it's not a historical accurate story, but you kind of have to follow the rules if you're following a mythological story. As much as the person has said it's fiction or that they studied history, like, just follow the rules. But let's have a look.
By doing the same thing over and over again. You make change by doing something new, and that's what Ferrari did. And they just took that to the extreme. They made the car electric when all Ferraris before had been combustion. They designed the car to be aerodynamic and
let's face it, previous cars were like half electric and they did have a lot of acceleration.
Optimized for drag and not downforce. The design of the car is soft and rounded compared to the very aggressive, sharp corners and angles of traditional Ferrari. They don't want every single Ferrari in the future to look like the Ferrari Luce, thankfully. They just want to shatter culture's current idea of what a Ferrari.
All right, this car the Luce is very bubbly, and there's a reason why they don't release cars like the Testarossa or the F40 anymore, because they're pointy and apparently they cause a lot more damage to pedestrians when they hit them. So yeah, so they're probably complying to safety rules, regulations all over the place. I mean, let's face it, Ferrari is in Italy. And on to other expensive things. If you're a gamer, you know what a Steam Deck is. It's probably like a portable version of Steam. And apparently the 1 terabyte OLED model got a $300 price increase and now costs almost $1,000. I mean, for that, you can buy possibly the best PC or something like that. I mean, why is everything going up in price? Even the PS5 increased in price recently. And one final video for this live stream, for this end stream rather. And it's an article from Variety which says YouTube will start automatically tagging videos that make significant use of AI, and it's making labels for AI generated content more prominent. I mean, it's important to know the difference between something being fake or not, because soon they'll probably have people, I mean, actually it's too late on AI, regarding AI, there are people who are on Instagram, who are on all these social media channels that are fake, that don't exist. I mean, soon there might even be a whole live stream with somebody who isn't even there. So what are your opinions? Do you think they should make labels or tags? And how are they going to recognize the difference between an AI version of a video and something that's real? And to what extent are they going to take this? Are they going to take it into court, into evidence? Is it going to be kind of like Minority Report with the true crime? Is it true crime or something where they will take a video? Actually, that was a video of the future. However, they might just make AI to incriminate somebody who hasn't done something, to put them in jail. I mean, so far we've had CCTV camera footage. I mean, what about making, I mean, it's going to come to a point where we're not going to be able to tell the distinction of what is real and what is not. And yeah, so anyway, to wrap up this this stream, yep, my co-host Bird, who is streaming on Tuesday at 5 p.m. CET, says that it's nice that YouTube's trying at least some effort, as usual, to make the difference between, or to label things AI. But yeah, the real question, as he pointed out, is how is it going to affect all of us on our daily lives? And where else is it going to snowball? What is the domino effect, the butterfly effect of this whole AI crazy madness? So, to wrap things up, thanks for watching NTV. This was the live stream. And we are currently simultaneously ending the stream on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick for now until Tuesday. And feel free to check out NTV on YouTube, on Rumble, on Kick. Feel free to comment on our social media, on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, and Discord. And thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Real life is a situation, is a simulation. Real life is a simulation, said my co-host. I agree with that. And some people have actually said, what if we are living in a simulation? What if we're in some sort of program? I mean, who knows? What if all of this is fake? What if all of this is pre-programmed? Who knows? Maybe we're all living in the Matrix. But at least we can try and make sense out of all of this by discussing among ourselves, what is the point? Why are things happening? And what can we do about them? What things we should be aware of? So So this was our coverage of geopolitics, culture, technology, entertainment, and we'll catch you on the next video. Short, shorts and everything. One reminder, please subscribe, because I saw in the analytics of our channel that 80% of viewers have not clicked the subscribe button. So be sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment, follow our socials, and stay tuned. So yeah, this was the ENDstream. Thanks for watching. See you next time.